streets, you'll find food trucks, live music, films, art, bowling, shopping, and other really unique presentations only to be experienced in downtown New Orleans. You'll see some of the best new emerging artists. Now, I have a list of those artists. They came into the studio today and dropped off all the artists from across the country. It displays their talents and their hopes of getting discovered and becoming the next big thing. It's going to be in various places like Little Jim Saloon, Sweet Lorraine's, the Ace Hotel, of course, House of Blues, Sydney Saloon, prime example, the Jazz Club. Gotta go. You can jump into any of those venues and hear the lineups. When it gets closer to the event festival, we'll put the participating artists online. We do know that the Bayou Swamp Band is going to be there. Firebug, Grand Baton, Neckbone, Brassaholics, and Go-Go Brass Funk. That's the same people from last year at the last event. And there's going to be a bunch of local favorites, but I can't say who they are yet, Mike, because they asked me not to. I don't want them to get mad. So we got so many people want to hear what's going on between you and I. You don't have anything to throw me under the bus this week? Last week you threw me under the bus.
How did I throw you under the bus?
I can't remember, but something happened. I just can't remember. I try to blank out all the bad stuff.
Yeah.
Now, did we give away any tickets for James Taylor?
We haven't yet, no. Why don't we do that? Let's give away some tickets.
All right, so if you need tickets for James Taylor and you jump on our Facebook group page, you tell us, hey, PJ and Mike, I want tickets. We'll put you in a drawing for the tickets. We won't be able to announce them because the event is actually August 3rd, so you'll get a phone call from our social media girl, Faye, and say, hey, congratulations, you won the tickets. And then next week's show, Mike, we'll go ahead and tell who it was that won those tickets.
I think that's a good plan.
I think it's an awesome plan because I just thought of it as I was talking. Of course, folks, if you want to join our group page, go to Out and About in a Big Easy, the group page or the like page. We'd rather you go to the group page so that way we get to communicate freely and everybody gets to see what's going on in the city. And, of course, if you need advertising, feel free to give me an email, pj@outandabout.productions. And if you have anything, or if Mike owes you money, you can email Mike at mike@outandabout.productions. and of course, you can go to our website, outandabout.productions. All right, folks, you're listening to Out and About. What are we doing here? Out and About what? What is it?
In the Big Easy, I think? In the Big Easy.
Out and About in the Big Easy. That's right. Out and About in the Big Easy on WWL. You're listening to Mike Wade and PJ LaRive.
Queen Elizabeth once caught beads at Mardi Gras, and she returned to England with what are now known as the crown jewels. When he travels, he brings Central Time with him.
I don't always drive in New Orleans, but when I do, I prefer a Ford F-150.
He is the most ordinary man in New Orleans, with the most extraordinary deals, only at Lamarck Ford.
Drive safely, my friends.
It's 100 degrees in the shade. You're covered with sweat and dying to jump into your cool pool to cool off. But wait, your pool water is green. Why? Your pool pump is broken. Ouch! Hey, but don't worry. Professor Pools has you covered. Broken motor, broken pump, spa heater not working, leaky pipes, automatic cleaning system not working. Don't worry, Professor Pools has you covered. Check them out at www.professorpools.com. That's www.professorpools.com.
And we're back. You know, Mike, the French Quarter, the Vieux Carré people sent me over some really interesting facts, and I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it because we have so many tourists that are in right now for some conventions and some events that's happening in New Orleans. And they asked me to kind of do a little bit about the French Quarter and the Vieux Carré and what's going on, and let's bounce a little bit off of it. The French Quarter, folks that are visiting, is also known as the Vieux Carré or the Quarter, and to locals, It sits on the crescent of the Mississippi River on some of the highest ground in New Orleans, because New Orleans is basically built like a bowl, like a big gumbo bowl. And when it rains, that's why we get so much flooding here. So not only is the city's cultural hub, but it's also the community where residents take time to really welcome our visitors in the streets. We have some really intimate and unique New Orleans neighborhoods, and it's extended a spell over writers and artists and like Mark Twain and Hearn and John James Audubon. Hollywood celebrities make us New Orleans their home also. Around 2000, a lot of celebrities decided they wanted to jet set to New Orleans and basically move here, like Julia Roberts so we have a big, huge mix of stars. It's not Hollywood, but you can walk in the French Quarter and you'll see some pretty interesting people. And of course, Brad Pitt is always around here because after Katrina, he built a bunch of neighborhoods back up to standards, and all the homes really came out pretty. And then, of course, it keeps, with all these travelers that come in, the View Carré Commission keeps the neighborhoods very, very vibrant. And the architecture, Mike, tell them about the architecture in New Orleans.
Yeah, one of the amazing things about New Orleans, it's very unique in regards to the culture, the blending of various cultures, Spanish, French, Creole, and of course American. That's the culture, that's the blending part of the culture is that. And then the architecture also stems from Spanish, French, Creole, and American styles together. And the architecture is like none I've ever seen before. It's just gorgeous. Walled courtyards, perfect for French Quarter parties. Cast iron balconies were added to some of the masonry buildings after the 1850s. I mean, it's just a beautiful, gorgeous setting, and it's a lot of fun. There's tons of things to do. There's great restaurants. There's nice wine bars and patio bars, and restaurants, of course. It's just a wonderful, wonderful environment to hang out in. Just walking through the architecture itself is pretty mind-blowing. I just love it there, and I think if you're a tourist, of course you know that that's a place to go, and PJ and I are just really standing by that. I mean, go check it out. It is simply awesome.
What they were called shotgun houses. The going thing for our tourists, a shotgun house is basically a front door and a back door, and the house is built with barge boards. Architecture, the guys who actually built the homes would bring the lumber and trade in Louisiana along the Mississippi River. And when the barge got down here, because we're at the bottom of the river before it gets to the Gulf of Mexico, they basically tear apart the barge and use all the wood and build homes with it. And the most popular home was a shotgun house. And it was called a shotgun house because you could literally stand in the front door and shoot a shotgun and it would go out the back door. And it was about 5 rooms, but you could see from the front door to the back door, and they built them that way because it's so hot here, the humidity, and they wanted a breezeway. They wanted to have a constant airflow going through all the rooms. And Mike, I'm a photographer, so I'm actually putting together a book, and I know you're putting together a book. I'm putting together a photography book of all the New Orleans beautiful architecture. And if you go to PJ LaRive Photographer and like my group page, you can see some of my work that's already there. My book's going to probably be out around October of this year. And of course, Mike, we have some of the most unique antique shopping, clothing, and the French Quarter is full of boutique shopping and French market since the 1920s. There's the Italian market, and the space is filled with funky shops and grassroots art galleries, and Royal Street is such a beautiful glimpse of galleries that feature antiques and works by local artists. And you can meander down Charter Street for a look of clothing, shoes, and accessories for the ladies. And our dining is the best Creole and Cajun cuisine in the world. If you look it up, you can dine in classic white tablecloth splendor at Antoine's or Galatoire's, or you can just munch on a muffalata at Central Grocery. That's been there for as long as I can remember. Central Grocery, as they boast, they made the first muffalata sandwich, and I believe it. And definitely don't miss the iconic Café du Monde, which I am heading to tonight. to get me some beignets and some cafe au lait. It's my Sunday night ritual. Mike, I'm going to give you a heart attack. Do you want one?
No, thank you. No, I'd rather not.
No, thank you. All right, you're listening to WWL. Quick break.
Dodge is a powerful vehicle that affects the chemicals in the brain which may give you the feeling of immortality. Dodge is not recommended for individuals who have strong ties to social networks or are obsessed with mobile games. You should not use Dodge if you are allergic to adrenaline, endorphins, burnouts, or freedom. Dodge is highly addictive. Even one test drive of Dodge may lead to irreversible changes in your life. Dodge has been known to make the voices in your head louder and has the ability to shift perceptions and burn bridges. Dodge may impair your ability to obey the rules and respect social conventions. People with gluten intolerance, political aspirations, or lack of self-control should use caution when operating Dodge. Do not use Dodge if you are pregnant or do not want to get pregnant. Dodge may cause loss of inhibitions and in some cases bodily functions. Side effects include shortness of breath, increased blood flow to the genitals, and angry neighbors. Dodge has been known to frighten wild animals and show dogs in equal measure. Dodge Brothers Motor Company is not responsible for any decisions made behind the wheel of Dodge. Consult physician, psychiatrist, and the Holy Trinity before driving Dodge. Consider yourself warned.
Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire.
And we're back. You're listening to Out and About in a Big Easy on WWL. You know, we get a lot of phone calls and a lot of emails from different restaurants throughout the city, and they want us to talk about their food and how classy they are or whatever. But I have one, and Mike, I wanted to talk to you about food. Pho Bistro here in New Orleans, 1200 South Carrollton Avenue. Look, their phone number is 504-304-8334. Brother, if you like pho as much as I do, you will go to this restaurant on South Carrollton. Their food is exquisite. They have two locations. One's over there in Elmwood. I don't know that address, but her daughter runs that one. The lady that owns this one here on Carrollton, the menus are identical. Food, fantastic. Pho Bistro, 1200 South Carrollton, New Orleans. Okay, so, you know, we cover news in New Orleans and we talk about everything that's going on in New Orleans, but this came across my desk today, and the police are still looking for the owner of the 77-pound tortoise that was found on the road. Now, this is in New York, and police in New York are looking for the owner of a 77-pound tortoise found on the side of the road, right? So, Newsday reports that police in Nassau County found this large African spurred tortoise on the road, right? So the animal was brought to Dr. Ned Horowitz and his staff at Pet Vet on Wednesday. Horowitz says they were relieved to receive the pleasant and domesticated spurred tortoise instead of an alligator snapping turtle, which we have here in New Orleans, right? These freaking things, they bite. There's a whole song made of it, which are frequently found in the area. He says the tortoise appears to be well cared for and believes it maybe have escaped from its owner's home. How does a 77-pound tortoise escape from somebody's house? And how fast can a tortoise run, right? So Nassau County Police, particular roadside discovery comes days after the New York police recovered another African spurred tortoise that was stolen from a Queens environmental center. Wait a minute, could it be the same tortoise? New Yorkers. Now that's a turtle that's out and about, right? All right, you're listening to Out and About in a Big Easy. Man, I got more craziness. Hold on.
I have a little turtle. He lives in a box. He swims in the water and he climbs on the rocks.
Mike, I also want to tell you about Gabrielle Restaurant. You know, it closed since Katrina, and it's going to reopen on Orleans Avenue. Bro, Gabrielle Restaurant, bad to the bone. And lastly, Saints Pelican owner Tom Benson is bringing Dixie beer back to New Orleans with plans to build a local brewery after buying the 110-year-old iconic brand. What? And I want to thank everybody that joined us today. Send us a message on Facebook group page, Out and About in a Big Easy. We'll see you next week, right here on WWL, AM 870 and FM 105.3.